Hey family, this is Jake here from John Jim Ministries. This week marks the 15th anniversary of my father's death. And I just want to say right off the bat that I really miss him, But more importantly, I say that to say to you today that, when you really care about a person or when you really love them, you must be careful what you say to them and what you say about them, because you can't really take them for granted because you really don't know what would happen. This week, particularly on October the 11th or the 12th, between those hours was when my father passed away on the 12th, and we were out celebrating life. My wife and two others were celebrating their birthday on the 11th, and for some reason Daddy was ill. Apparently he was hollering that night, and the neighbors told me when I got there on the next day that he was hollering and he would not open the door for them to get in to look after him. And his next door neighbor, a gentleman next door who I assume cared about him, he looked at me and he began to quarrel and cuss, and he said, I do not understand why Cephas didn't get up and open. He is in there hollering all night, I will not get up and open the door. And then he said to me, look at me straight with such anger in his face and voice, he said, you don't know, I hope he's dead in there. Because I don't understand why he would get up and open the door for people to come in looking after him. And so I took my key, I took my key and I opened the door. And when I got in his bedroom, he looked like a man that was on an invisible respirator, just taking some deep breaths. And his eyes glassed open, he was cold as ice, and shortly I just called the ambulance, and he just went silent. And I said to myself, child boy, it seemed as if though my father was just waiting until I got there to just get one last glimpse of his son before he died. And so when the ambulance got there and they reeled him out, his next nobody was outside in the street looking at. And then I looked at him and said, well, Daddy is dead. And he bowed his head with great shame and a tremendous amount of grief. It seemed like it came upon him, and he just couldn't stand himself, and he just turned around and walked straight into his house. And I want to tell you, family, that right there and then I knew and I felt that, he didn't really mean what he said, and it was just out of anger and frustration. And the truth is, the same thing he decrees what happened, and he didn't really mean it. And I say that to say to you, family, and I don't hold anything against him, because I understood where it came from. But the problem is that up to this day, family, when this man sees me, he still feels shame and he still feels grief because of what he said. And that is what happens to many people today, who will say things to people that they don't really mean, but that it caused not only them, but it caused the people that they say to a tremendous amount of hurt. And that's what I tell you, it's really about when we love people, sometimes we say things to them that hurts, but then because it hurts so deeply that you're not really looking for the response that you get in return, and it can really backfire. But I just want to encourage those of you who are who care about people and who care about people in your life, to be careful what you say, because sometimes what you say can really hurt and damage them in a way that cannot be reversed. Irreversible. My father's dead, he can't even apologize, and so therefore he has to live with that shame, he has to live with that grief, even though he don't necessarily have to. And I just want to say that that when we say we love, we have to understand 1 Corinthians chapter 13 in this context, that love is, it says, is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous, it is not boastful, it is not proud, it is not rude. So regardless of how somebody might make you feel, if you love them, you have to be careful about what you say, because you can make some irreversible damage in their lives and may cause you a certain amount of shame and grief. It is not irritable. It keeps no record of being wrong, the scripture says. It does not rejoice about injustice, but it rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never fails. It never gives up. It never loses faith, and it always is hopeful. It endures through every circumstance, family. And so, using that particular scenario with my father and his friend, next door neighbor, I just want to tell you that there might be significant people in your life that you love and care about, and sometimes they frustrate you to the core. But I want you to know, and I want you to understand, family, that we have to be careful what goes out of our mouth. What goes out of our mouth is like toothpaste coming out of a pouch. You cannot get it back. You cannot pull back words that are spoken. And even though you say you were sorry, even though you apologize and you regret, those words are already in the person's psyche. And a lot of the things that they might think and do are predicated on the things that was said. And I just want to say that if you love a person, be careful what you say. Be patient, be kind, be loving, tolerate, it endures. And so love is very, very powerful, and it takes someone who is practicing and really cares about loving others to really practice these courses, because love can save, love can heal, love can deliver, love can save you a whole heap of trouble, and love can save you, from saying things that you might regret in the long run, that you cannot go back and pull back. So family, this is my little encouragement to you today. Remember love. Remember that you don't want to say things that you would regret, because the truth is you might never get a chance again to apologize and say that you're sorry. So brethren, sisters, God bless you. Remember, be careful what you say. God bless, and see you next week.